today I want to speak about our amazing sponsor, V&J Auto Body. That's right, V&J Auto Body has now opted to be our primary sponsor here on the podcast, and we couldn't be happier. So V&J Auto Body is a shop that's been around for 40 years. It's a family-owned shop. It still is, okay? Yours truly works there. I have worked there for 9 years. I'm a manager and a writer. We have a fantastic, dynamic crew, right? Professional in all ways. Myself and my partner have between us probably about 40 years combined experience in the insurance industry in various roles. The shop itself is a very progressive shop. And what I mean by that is a future forward-looking shop. We have attained most major manufacturer certifications. All right, most recently, we just became Range Rover certified and Rivian. All right, we continue to move forward in that realm as well. All right, so from a standpoint of being prepared to assist you, the public, in every possible way when it comes to having your collision damaged vehicle repaired and restored to pre-loss condition, V&J Auto Body is the one place you need to be. All right. The shop itself, we have some of the most highly trained technicians. We have the most advanced equipment, right? And we're continually upgrading that and continuing the training, right, for all people. And they really make the investment, folks. I mean, we're sending guys across the country. The owners themselves, James Verone and Chandler, are always attending various industry seminars and various talking heads and folks that are intimately involved in the industry, right? So that we stay ahead of the curve and we know what's happening before it happens. All right, we know what's coming, so we're prepared. All right, we are prepared both intellectually, technically, all right, and also business-wise. All right, and the one thing you can always count on with V&J Auto Body is we're going to represent your interests and not the interests of the insurance company. All right, and we're going to be with you all the way from start to finish. All right, our professional office staff, all right, they're of claim rep quality. All right, and the girls do a phenomenal job. They really know the insurance industry inside out, all right, and they can make sure that your claim gets reported, recorded, and handled the right way from the beginning. All right, so you don't have to worry about that part of the aggravation. All right, V&J is going to take care of all that for you. All right, V&J Auto Body, they are in Lindenhurst and can be reached at 631-226-0070. That's 631-226-0070. Of course, they are on our network at collisionservicenetwork.com. All right, but V&J Auto Body, folks, if you're in the Babylon area, if you live in the town of Babylon, you're in that area, you certainly should be having your car repaired there. So remember, all right, if you get into an accident or you need to file an insurance claim, give the folks over at V&J Auto Body a call, 631-226-0070. They have you back. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another exciting show here. I guess we'll call it an episode, of the one and only Crash Course. All right, so we're going to get into a lot of stuff here. Some stuff I think you're going to have a good time with this. I know I'm going to it. I think it's going to be fun. You know, remember what I said? We try and inject levity here. We want to have fun with the show. Right? We were really good at that on the radio, and I'm trying real hard to get to that same level with the podcast. All right, so hang in there. Got some interesting stuff today we're going to get to. All right, we're going to cover some of it's a little off topic, but it's funny, and I don't know, you know. So, like I said, we'll go with it, and we'll see what everybody thinks. All right, hey. If you're new to the show, if somebody told you about it or you just stumbled on it, you were tossing around on the computer or whatever device you utilize, and you found us, welcome to the show. Appreciate you stopping by. Stick around. Like we like to say here, you're going to be the smartest person in the room when it comes to issues involving auto body, collision industry, insurance products, insurance matters, all right, as well as just overall, generally speaking, about, you know, cars, repairs, whether it be body, mechanical, and things like that, all right? And, of course, you pick up other little things here, too, like we're going to get to today, all right? So welcome to the show, Crash Course, the one and only show that's dedicated to, right, part of our mission statement, promoting and supporting the Long Island auto body industry. Now, specifically, that is the privately owned and operated, all right? Big difference there. We want to really make sure we drive that home all the time because the Long Island auto body industry is pretty pretty big, right? I mean, what I mean by big, it's widespread, right? There's a lot of body shops all over the place. It is a small business industry for sure, all right? Although some of the body shops, like the one I work at V&J, are pretty big, okay, by comparison, especially for this area, right? You go to other places in the country, and, mega shops or multi-shop operations are just practically normal business. But in this metro area, especially specifically here in Long Island, it's not as common, all right, to find huge, big production shops. All right, V&J happens to be one of those. That's where I work, and we're going to get to them in just a second here. But, again, welcome to the show. Stick around. I think you're going to have some fun. Like I said, we got some fun stuff to get to today, as well as, of course, the usual information that we like to gather for everybody. All right, I like to say I read the things you don't want to read, and I listen to the things you don't want to listen to. All right? All right, I do that for the folks, and that's what we do here, right? Part of the mission statement is we're educating the consumer. Been doing that now for 4 years, all right, especially through Crash Course. All right, we started out on the webpage and the Facebook. All right, then we jumped to Instagram, and we jumped to the radio, right? Radio was so cool for 2 years, and now we're really psyched to be rocking and rolling here with the podcast. All right, we keep growing in leaps and bounds. We really appreciate it. Keep telling everybody, spread the word. All right, we're really doing tremendous good here as far as getting to the folks. All right, and folks, let me tell you, when it comes to this stuff, all right, again, remember, I'm not an academic. All right, I'm not some some consultant or some trade magazine guy or anything like that. I'm just Joe Blow worker. All right, I work in V&J Auto Body. I'm one of the writers / manager. And, of course, I've been in the industry almost 30 years. You can find my bio at collisionservicenetwork.com. Please go to collisionservicenetwork.com. Check us out there. All right. So, so that's what we're doing, right? We've been doing it. We continue to do it. And I love getting behind this mic. I love getting into this podcast show. I look forward to this every week, all right, talking to the folks. All right, we're educating you. We're giving you information and knowledge you need and can use and advice you can trust. Okay, and I don't think I have to tell everybody out there how important that is today, right? There is just tremendous amounts of info. I remember when the computer started to really pick up, right? I think it was in 95 or 96. I actually was in some kind of, I think they call it a professional development course at Stony Brook, right? I didn't know what the hell I was doing. It was hysterical. I was trying to learn computers, and that's when Microsoft was rolling out Windows and all that other crap. But at any rate, so then everybody started talking about the information highway. Remember back then? Well, in the information highway is all kinds of information everywhere. You're not kidding, right? You're not kidding. We got information on top of information on top of information. But you know what, folks? A lot of it, not that accurate. Okay? It's not that accurate. All right? Hence the term misinformation, and then you add disinformation. Right? I like to differentiate between the two because misinformation kind of connotes misinformed, connotes misinformed. But disinformation, to me, when I hear that means deliberate. All right? And unfortunately, there's a lot of it. And it's no different in the insurance industry or the auto body world. All right? You got both going on there, too. Some of it on purpose, some of it just by virtue of, not being properly educated or informed. Making the wrong statements or giving you knowledge and advice that just isn't right. Okay, but you get knowledge and information you need and can use here, and advice you could trust at Crash Course. Right, that's why you're here. So I want to give the rundown. Facebook. All right, where can you find us? Well, we got our webpage. All right, collisionservicenetwork.com. Amazing webpage, I have to say. Go there, please. Check it out. Got a full bio of yours truly here. So if you like that kind of stuff, you like to figure out who I am, what I am, where I came from, what I do, how I do it, how I did it, you can get all that over there. All right, there's actually a little video there, too, of me talking about all kinds of stuff. Go check that out. There's a tutorial there as well. All right, how to speak to your insurance company. Also a Q&A of various different interests when it comes to dealing with the auto body as well as the insurance world. All right. There's also very important, there's also a direct link to the Department of Financial Services. All right, please, I can't stress this enough. If you need help, all right, if you filed an insurance claim or you think you have to and you're unsure about anything, folks, reach out to us. All right, if you don't want to reach out to us, then go to the website, all right? And you can find all that information. If you're already involved in a claim, you think you've been done wrong, or the insurance company's putting the screws to you, or maybe even your body shop, right? Maybe you're having a problem with your body shop. You didn't go to collisionservicenetwork.com and choose one of our amazing auto body client businesses there, all right? Amazing shop. Folks, we got the best of the best at collisionservicenetwork.com. All right, and you go there and you can pick one of our amazing partner shops on our network there. All right, and we have them in Nassau and Suffolk County. All right, but if you didn't and you think you're in trouble, well then log on and go to collisionservicenetwork.com. All right, and we have a direct link to the Department of Financial Services, which will take you to the complaint area, and you can file a complaint. All right, you can file a complaint as a consumer to the Department of Financial Services, which is partnered with what's left of the insurance department. Right? There isn't really an insurance department in New York State anymore, thanks to Governor Cuomo. I guess he needed to pay back his cronies, and first thing he did was dissolve that. Worst thing he could have ever did is get rid of the Department of Insurance. But that's another day and another topic. But seriously, all right? You don't have to take this stuff face down. Folks, when I started in the industry back in the mid and late 80s, I got to tell you, everybody was sending in Department of Insurance complaints. Okay, consumers and body shops. All right, and remember, the New York State Regulation 64, Regulation 79, and the New York State insurance laws in general, they're there to protect us, the consumer. All right, and to an extent, the auto body industry, but more is the consumer. All right, so those protections that are built into that regulation and New York State insurance, so they're there for you. All right, so if they're not being adhered to, or they're not working for you, you need to let the state know that. All right. I know it's not in vogue anymore. You know, back, I don't know what it is. I mean, you would think it would be, right? Because it's easier today. You just go online, bop, 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 bop. You know, everything's online. Go online, and you file your little complaint, whoop, and off it goes. Back in my day, you actually had to write a letter, right? So come on, think about it. A lot easier today, folks. And they take it very serious. They still take it very seriously today. In fact, insurance companies are mandated by New York State insurance law and Reg 64. They have a time frame. I believe it used to be 7 days. They have to respond, 7 or 10 days. They have to respond to the Department of Financial Services. It used to be Department of Insurance, but Department of Financial Services, DFS. All right, they have a time constraint that they must respond to the complaint. And that complaint is taken seriously. It's investigated by the Department of Insurance and sometimes in conjunction with Department of Motor Vehicles. Right, DMV operates kind of a separate wing. They concentrate more specifically on technical issues, technical complaints, but they do together. They dovetail together. All right. So, like I said, if you think you're in a bind, or you think you're in trouble, or you feel that maybe things just didn't go the way they should have, or you have a problem with the car, with the repair, or the insurance company. Maybe the insurance company's putting the screws to you. No, they don't do that, right? Oh, my God. Yes, they do. They do. All right. Don't be afraid to admit it. All right. But there are remedies. All right. You need to take advantage of those. We need to get back to that. In fact, that's what, through Crash Course on this podcast, we're going to start to try and reemphasize that to the folks. All right. There are remedies. I know that stuff is all downplayed today, right? Everybody wants to be a good boy and girl. You want to play nice in the sandbox. Nobody wants to upset anybody. Folks, the only people that win at that are the people that are supporting the status quo, the insurance industry mostly, right? And to a lesser extent, the state or some, politicians, right? Forget that, right? Forget it. That's all BS, bullshit, okay? You need to understand what your rights and expectations are. Remember, Crash Course, Collision Service Network, this is what we're here for, right? We like to explain what your rights and expectations are as it relates to your personal auto policy and in New York State insurance in general. All right, so there are remedies there. We need to get back to that. We really do. All right, we need to get back to that as consumers. We need to take advantage of things and turn the screws on the insurance industry, because God knows they have no problem turning it on us, okay? And the body shops too. So they don't get off the hook here. All right, they don't get off the hook. All right, it's a lot of body shops right around. There's one on every corner, right? Please, they can't all be operating with the highest degree of ethics. All right, come on. All right, but there is a remedy. Anyway, I digress. So, real quick, give the rundown. So, where you can find us, right? Because I know that's what you're asking yourself. Wow, this guy's amazing. Crash Course is amazing. I want to know where I can find more about this guy and Crash Course. Well, you can. CollisionServiceNetwork.com. You can find us on Instagram. All right, we're pretty active on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. Got a really cool, dynamic Facebook page. And, of course, where else? Where you find podcasts. And that would be Spotify. All right, used to be on Anchor, but my engineer and social media director has advised me that we've been decoupled from that. All right? Whatever that means. Sounds fancy. Sounds important. But we are on Spotify. Please check us out. All right? And on Spotify, all right, really cool. On Spotify, you can also find some of the old episodes of the radio show. And I think that's really cool. I think that is so cool. I mean, even myself, I go back and I listen to some of them. All right, so check it out. Go there and check us out. All right, you can get kind of a flavor of what we were doing at the radio, and then catch up with us on Crash Course podcast. All right, so that's where you can find us. That's who we are. That's what we're doing. That's what we're about. All right, and that's who we're trying to help. You and me. That's who we're trying to help. And of course, we're promoting and supporting the privately owned and operated auto body industry. All right, cool stuff. Yeah, I think so. All right, so here we go. Let's get into some subject matter today for the show. All right, here we go. So, first off, all right, something funny. All right, maybe some of you can relate to this. Totally off topic. Just bear with me. Just let's go with this here. See where this goes. So, post office. Anybody ever had a post office experience? Woo! I got to tell you, man. It's like stepping into the Twilight Zone when you walk into that place. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, and I'm talking about any. I mean, listen, I had a post office in Islip, small little ditty thing. I mean, you're lucky you get 10 people in there. It just seems like wherever you go, though, when it involves the U.S. Postal Service, I mean, it's just like you're stepping into the Twilight Zone, right? And what's up with the people that work there? I mean, it's almost like they're working at a concentration camp. You ever get a look at some of these people? I feel bad. I feel sorry. I mean, I went to the Babylon one the other day. I left. I mean, the line was out the door. They had two people. The one person looked like he was on death's door. The other woman looked like she was, didn't know what was going on and was totally overwhelmed. I go back there today. There's one person at 2:15. The line's out the door again. This woman looked like she was, I don't know, like she was from, The Walking Dead or something. As far as looked like she was in a coma. And again, you feel terrible for these people. What the hell's going on at the post office? I mean, these people get paid. These people get paid tremendously well. They get a pension. They get benefits. And you get a look at these people. It's like, holy shit. I mean, it just seems like they got a taskmaster back there that's like whipping them or something when it slows down. There's nobody around. Hysterical. And and you stand there and the line can be out the door and they don't move any faster. There's absolutely no reaction. It just looks like they're frozen in time, or they're in a coma, or they're in a zombie type of composure. All hell can be breaking loose, and it's the same reaction. I mean, they don't move any faster. They don't try and help you any quicker. Absolutely hysterical. I don't know. I just had to share that with everybody. I just observed that today. And no offense, but I mean, you ever look around? I mean, it looks like the barroom scene from Star Wars in there when you go in there too. It's just next time you're in there, take a look, check it out. I mean, it's just I don't know. I just found it hysterical. All of a sudden hit me today. Barroom scene from Star Wars, and it looks like the people who are working there are in a concentration camp. I don't know. But again, I guess that's what we get with government work, right? That's what we get with government work. That's why here at Crash Course, we support and embrace free enterprise and capitalism, right? And you should too. Because when you embrace that, right, you embrace what's called meritocracy, right? That means the best rise to the top, and the worst and the weak, whoop, they get moved out, all right? Also efficiency too, right? Private business is all about efficiency, right? They have to be efficient. If they're not efficient, not productive, they lose money. It doesn't seem to be the mantra of the day with public service employees and government work, and that's absolutely hysterical. I just wanted to share that with everybody. All right, so we are once again hooked up with Fender Bender and Auto Body Repair magazine. All right, really cool, because I used to get a lot of cool stuff out of that for you guys. All right, I used to be able to let the folks know about any recalls. right? Guys, you would be, I was stumbling around on my own. I got a Ford Explorer, 16 Ford Explorer, and I'm just stumbling around, and all of a sudden I find I love this, all right? Check this out. The manufacturer says is an open-ended recall. Like, what the hell is that? I check it out. The recall is a safety button or something having to do with the airbag. I don't know. Does that sound like it should be open-ended? It sounds like maybe you should get your car in there pretty quick. It's open-ended, though. And it's so open-ended that Ford, I guess, doesn't see fit to even send a letter out to let me know. I had to, Google it. I don't know what the hell I was doing. I was Googling my car for something else, and this popped up. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I think I was on Carfax or something. And I found this little ditty. You have an open-ended, that's what it is. Carfax sends me stuff. I mean, folks, it's absolutely, I've talked about this, all right? Everything is connected to everything. I don't even have anything to do with Carfax. I never used Carfax. I mean, all my shit's on there, though. And I get these alerts. You're overdue for a maintenance thing, oil change. I'm like, okay, I didn't know that Carfax was my private secretary with respect to scheduling. It's really scary, all right? Really scary and really pathetic that everything gets interconnected and everything gets interchanged with everything else, and everybody knows everything about everybody. All right, the privacy thing is really out the window these days, folks, and hence we had a show about this, and we're going to get to that again down the road. I had a show trying to caution the folks, right? When the insurance company is doing that old carrot and a stick, right? Woo! Looky here. You let us plug this little device into your car, and we're going to save 10% on your collision. And I think maybe comp. I don't know. It's always collision though. They like to get you. We're gonna discount your collision premium by 10%. Just let us plug this in here. And I used to warn all the folks. You should never do that, folks. Remember what I said? Insurance companies are all about data, crunching data. So what they'll tell you is, let us plug this in, and it's going to give you feedback on how well you're driving. Well, guess what? What happens when you're not driving well, though? That just goes out the window? That doesn't get recorded? Feedback on how well you're driving until you're not driving well, and then guess who gets that feedback? The insurance company. And then you get a letter saying, hey, Mr. Smith, you were a really good guy for the first year, but don't look too good now. You're taking the turns pretty tight. You're braking abruptly. You seem to be a speed demon, man. I mean, you're on that pedal hot and heavy. And, we also, looks like your car was at a pub at 1 in the morning on a Friday. Okay? Don't do it, folks. I'm telling you. Don't do it. That's the carrot and the stick. Here's the stick. Bam! Right? Carrot is we're going to give you a little money off, very little money off your premium. The stick is, I'm going to hit you right over the head when I find out you're doing things that I don't think are really that good, and we're going to increase your premium, and then after we bill the hell out of you, we're going to drop you. That's it, folks. I'm not making this shit up. That's exactly it. That's the carrot and the stick. All right, let us intrude on your privacy. Give up all your privacy. All right, give it to us, and we're going to babysit you, and we're going to make sure that everything's going well, and it's going to benefit you. They're always going to say it's going to benefit you. Okay, sorry, until it doesn't, right? Whoopsie. All right, and then that's it. All right, I digress again. Let me get to this. This is another hysterical thing. So anyway, I said I'm back on Fender Bender, and I'm back on Auto Body Repair Magazine. All right, it's all good. It's going to be cool. I'll be able to bring stuff in. Remember, I read the things you don't want to read, listen to stuff you don't want to listen to. That's what I do. I love doing it. I take that all on myself for the folks. That's what we do here, Crash Course. And then when I see something important, I make sure I give it out to you guys. All right? Things like recalls and everything like that. So, you really, I know I date myself. I'm going to be 62. I grew up in the 70s and the 60s. All right? Great time, by the way. I love growing up in that era, especially, and I don't want anybody to hand me this baloney. Oh, well, everybody says that when they get to a certain age, that their time was better. Folks, I know my time was better. All right? Growing up in the 60s and the 70s, we had the 50s and the 40s to compare ourselves to. Not much of a difference. There really wasn't. All right? A lot of the same things that our parents did when they were kids, we were doing. All right? A lot of the same themes, cultural things, all that was still there. And ain't there anymore. All right? So the music sucks. The culture sucks. It's all in bad shape. All right? So I grew up in the best time, 70s and the 60s. Anyway, so I'm looking at Fender Bender magazine, and I see this guy says he interviewed some doctor at some university, and they're talking about hail damage. Okay, let me check this out, right? Hail damage on cars. It's a concern, all right? I know all about it because I'm a licensed adjuster and I work for major insurance companies. I had my interactions with that and my experience. You know, we don't get a lot of it around here, but it does happen occasionally. So this is a winner. Stick with me here. This is this is great. I love it. You can't make this shit up today, folks. You really can't make this up. So the topic was hail damage and climate change. All right. I said, oh, I got to dig into this one. This is going to be great. So I hit play and I'm listening to the interview. So the first 15 minutes, he's talking to some climatologist, scientist, guru over at some university in Minnesota or some shit. I don't know where the hell he's from. University of who cares. But at any rate, this guy starts going on and on and on about the climate's getting warmer, the thunderstorms are getting stronger and more intense, and the hailstones are going to be held up in the clouds long, and they're going to become tremendous. I'm laughing. I'm listening to this guy. I'm like, holy shit. And the guy interviewing him is like, oh, well, that's going to be terrible. You know, then we're going to have more intense damage to cars and vehicles. And the guy's like, whoa, yeah. And so right off the bat, what I say to myself is, what happened to meteorologists? What happened to weather guys or weather women, right? All of a sudden, this guy is telling us how hail is made and thunderstorms. I'm like, it's incredible today. So he goes on to say that hail formation is going to be directly impacted, okay, by climate change. In other words, I guess the storms are going to get so severe that the updrafts are going to be so severe that the hail, because the way hail is, right, we all know how hail forms, gets caught up in these updrafts, and then it goes into the lower part of the cloud, gets more moisture on it, gets shot up into where everything's frozen, and every time it does that, it adds another layer of ice, right? So you get bigger and bigger until eventually it can't be suspended in the cloud and it falls out as a hailstone, right? Basic physics. We all understand that, and weather. Apparently, this guy had to explain all this to this guy. So he asks him, well, what's hail going to look like in the future? And I'm cracking up. I'm like, I can't believe this is actually being discussed. What is hail going to look like in the future? Folks, what does hail look like now? It's white, it's cold, and it's frozen. I mean, I'm waiting for the shoe to drop. Like, it's going to be purple, it's going to be on fire, they're going to be like little fireballs, it's going to be, it's going to be the size of a watermelon or the shape of a watermelon. No, he just said that hail is going to be different in the future. Great. So he says we're going to have larger hailstones due to more powerful storms and everything. I say bullshit, and here's why. Because back in my day, all right, I took meteorology, and I also did it as a hobby. And folks, I got to tell you, man, now, I'm no expert, right? Obviously, I'm not a meteorologist here or weatherman, a weather person, but I could tell you, I studied that shit, and I studied it long and hard, and you can be rest assured, the storms that I saw in the late 50s, 60s, and even to a lesser extent the early 70s, I'm talking intensity, boy. We're talking record book stuff here. You would see pictures of hailstones the size of softballs. Softballs. Now, picture that, right? When was the last time you saw a report on the news about softball-sized hail? I haven't. You hear golf ball, right? You hear quarter size, golf ball size, maybe occasionally approaching maybe a tennis ball, all right? Folks, this happened on a regular basis. Softball-sized hail. And we're talking tornadoes that were off the charts, all right? So I just had to share that because, the way this ties into cars is there's a process called PDR. It's paintless dent removal. Right? It's very common, very well known, very well established now in the industry. Very useful. It has many applications. It can save people and businesses a lot of money. All right, and the basic premise of paintless dent removal is you are able to restore the metal, all right, to its prior condition, whatever that is. Whether it's taking the dent out or trying to repair a crease in the metal, you restore that without doing body work, right? Without having to apply any heat or grinding, and mostly 99% of the time without having to touch the paint. Right? And I think that's key with PDR. Some guys would want to argue with me on that, and that's okay. I get that. I mean, there is room for a discussion on that. But for the most part, PDR, paintless dent removal, the most advantageous aspect of it is you don't have to paint. Right? You don't have to touch the panel. You don't have to do conventional body work, all right, and actually create more damage to fix the damage that's there, and then of course paint it. All right, so that's what's going on with paintless dent removal. All right, and that is a primary repair technique for hail. Okay, so if you've never been involved with hail as far as damaging your car or your truck or anything else, well, God bless, congratulations. All right, but it is very discerning. I mean, hail damage is directional too. Okay, what I mean by that is it's always going to hit perpendicular, or to perpendicular. It's directional. All right, hail doesn't go sideways. It doesn't come across the car. It's always straight down. Hail is what we call gravitationally directed. All right, so it's always the flat, exposed surfaces, and that can be along the belt line. The obvious spots are hood, roof, and deck lid, your trunk lid. But I've also seen it along the top edges of fenders, the top edges of the doors, what we call the belt line. These areas are very susceptible to hail. It's directional damage. Okay, and PDR, paintless dent removal, right, has been very, very well documented, and it's a very well established industry now. I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know, I never even heard the word when I started in the industry. All right, but now it's basically a household name. Right, and it is a very, very well respected, well established, and rightfully utilized technique, especially in the area of hail. All right, so if your car is hail damaged, don't panic. In most instances, you don't need to have body work. All right, the PDR guys are amazing. These guys are like experts, like you wouldn't know. Right, I've even had these guys come to my shop, and they're able to get metal damage panel. I mean, I'm talking the aluminum damage panels. And they're able to restore it as close to 95%, 98%. Phenomenal. All right. The other thing I want to say too is push the paint. This is another thing. If I got some guys out there in the body shop world that are listening in, push the paint. Right. We all know what this is. I mean, I had to sell this when we had there was a massive hailstorm here back in Jesus. I'm trying to remember when the hell that hit. I don't know, maybe 2010, 2012, I don't know, somewhere around there. It only hit certain places, I think Lake Success and some other areas in Nassau County. It was terrible, though, terrible. I never seen anything like it. Now, I've dealt with hail, right? But not, I mean, when they told me, hey, you got to go into Nassau, we're on disaster duty, I'm like, okay, for what? Hail. I raised my hand like an idiot. Yeah, okay, I'll go help. I'll go make some more money. Holy shit. I get in there. I get my boss on the phone. I said, do you have any idea what this looks like? Folks, it looked like Kansas. It looked like Kansas or Oklahoma hailstorm. I mean, I'm talking siding was ripped off of homes, gutters were ripped off. I mean, cars and trucks were destroyed. I mean, I called my boss up. I said, you have any idea what's going on in here? I mean, we're talking about roofs. I never wrote so many roofs and hoods, and it was a total disaster. If anybody out there is listening to me and they remember this, they're probably shaking their head and laughing, going, holy shit, yeah, I was involved in that. It was an utter disaster. Never saw hail that intense on Long Island, okay? And it does tremendous damage. So guys were flying in from all over. Guys were coming in from Australia, from Germany, from England, all these PDR teams. It was hysterical all over. And you see them, they're in these garages with one light, working overnight. Bop, 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 bop. The guy probably got paid for a hood and a roof, and they're in there, for hours trying to get all these freaking dents. Folks, if you never saw hail damage, it's hysterical. You can literally have like hundreds of these little like dime-sized dents everywhere. And if you look at the panel the right way with the light, it's just covered in dents. All right, and then this idea push the paint. So what push the paint is basically what it says. You're going to use PDR to push the dent, right? Restore it as much as you can, as close to 100%. All right, and then they're going to paint. All right, so somebody might be saying, all right, well, what the hell's the difference? You just told me that the idea with PDR is you don't have to paint. True. Push the paint means the dent, okay, the dent was bad enough that it disrupted the paint. All right, the paint was cracked in layman's terms. All right, what we call paint deformity. All right, so the resistance, the surface area of the paint was disrupted, so it broke. All right, it cracked through the clear or actually through the base coat. So at that point, PDR comes along and they're able to restore the panel, but now you got to paint. So it's called push to paint. It's hysterical. Another bullshit term that the insurance company came up that sounded sound important, and they thought they were going to save money. But that's basically PDR, all right? So a little education there today, along with maybe a little humor, all right? I thought it was hysterical with the climate change thing. Folks, I don't know how you feel about that. I get that. There's a lot of opinion on that, and most people on either sides, feel very strongly. Understandably, I like to stick with what I call common sense and science. And, I'm of the opinion that, the climate change thing is more about controlling people, controlling resources and behavior and that type of thing there. All right? I don't really think there's any climate change. Like I said, I grew up in the 70s and 60s. All right? If I showed you photos of storms that they were getting there years ago down south and out west, softball-sized hail, Category 5 tornadoes with 350-mile-an-hour winds and everything else. Disaster. Total disasters. And there weren't even as many people around. Think about it. There weren't even as many developed areas. And these storms are showing up everywhere. All right. So that's that. That's the show. Everybody have a lot of fun. Learn a little something about PDR, about hail, right? Good stuff. Folks, let me just say before we move on to the conclusion of today's show, let me just remind everybody, folks, like I said, I work in a body shop. I deal with people day in and day out. All right, and I can't stress it enough the distress and the frustration that I have to see in people's faces, all right, when they come in and tell me, oh, the insurance company told me to send photos in and they took an estimate, and I have to tell them that the estimate that they gave them is basically a pathetic joke, all right? It doesn't even represent what actually needs to be done to restore their car. And then I got to tell them the bad news. It's going to take longer to fix their car now because I have to get the insurance company. It's a big cluster F, all right? So, if you don't learn anything by listening to the show, please, and tell your friends, your family, all right, please, do not give the insurance company photos of your damaged car. You're not required. It's not going to help you. It's going to help them. It's not going to help you, all right? And it's also going to contribute to extending the repair, all right, also delaying them coming back, all right, and could potentially, all right, narrow your window of opportunity with respect to what's covered and not covered. All right, we'll get more into that in another show. All right, so remember, no photos. All right, in fact, when we ran the radio show, we resurrected the old Nancy Reagan program. When she said, just say no to drugs, we're asking you just say no to photos. All right? If you want to take photos for your lawyer, just to have them, all right? I guess in case, you feel comfortable having them, in case something happens or somebody tries to lie or whatever the story is, fine, take them. Take all the photos you want. Just don't send them anywhere. Folks, anytime you send the insurance company something, remember this, it becomes their property to do with whatever they want. They can zoom in, zoom out, reproduce it, give them to a special investigator, all right? You don't want that, all right? You don't want that. We don't want that. The industry doesn't want that. Nobody wants that, all right? So don't do that. All right, help us help you. What I mean by us, the body shops, help you by not sending the insurance company photos. All right, it's only helping them, and we don't want to help them. They don't need our help. They help themselves. They do very well. They don't need our help. All right, so remember that. And please, Manon, all right, is that what the Italians say? I'm German and Irish. I'm using Italian. Do not bring your car to an insurance-sponsored shop. I don't know how much I have to keep saying this. Folks, you go to quitandservicenetwork.com and pick one of our amazing network partner shops. Right? You're going to get your car fixed the way you want it. They're going to represent your interests. All right? And if things go sideways, they're going to stand in your shoes and defend you. They're not going to worry about, oh, well, let me see. I can't really get too nuts, so, they're the ones sending me all the work. No, there's none of that. There's only you. That's all they care about is you and your car. Okay? So go to Quit and Service Network. Pick one of our amazing network partner shops there. These guys are the best of the best. All right? And be assured that your car is going to get repaired regardless of what the outcome of the negotiations. Your car is going to be restored consistent with manufacturer requirements. Right? And that's paint, body, frame, whatever is necessary. All right? But here's the kicker, folks. Here's the kicker. You might actually even get a discount on your deductible. I'm not saying it's a given, but you might get a discount on your deductible. Folks, you go to an insurance-sponsored shop, you're paying the whole thing. So you're paying your deductible, and you're getting subpar work. Pay your deductible, subpar work. All right? Why? Would you do that with a contractor? The guy comes in and says, I'm going to have Tricky Dick, Jose, and Julio. They're going to do your bathroom. They have no idea on how to fix a bathroom. And, we're not going to use high-quality materials. So, it's not going to come out exactly like you saw in the magazine, but it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Don't worry about it. All right. It's still $15,000. I mean, who the hell would, right? Come on. Who would agree to that? First of all, I'd throw them out the door, but if I was stupid enough to let them actually do the work, I'd be like, I'm not paying you $15,000. You tell me you're using subpar materials. Julio doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, come on. Right? Please, do not do that. That doesn't benefit. That benefits the insurance. Remember, I worked in an industry. It benefits the insurance industry. It doesn't benefit you. It certainly doesn't benefit the auto body industry. It hurts it. It hurts it. All right. I'm going to get into that next show. I promise. We're going to go the whole show. I'm going to dedicate to why they developed that program, how they use it, and how it's beneficial to them and hurts you in the industry. You're going to love that. All right. Come tune in next to the next show. You're going to love that show. It's going to be great. All right, so before we go, here we go. Right, we're going to do a great promo here. V&J Auto Body. Woo! Yay to V&J. We love V&J. V&J Auto Body's amazing sponsor, Crash Course. All right, thank you very much to James Verone and Chandler, the brand new owners of V&J. They got a vision. I love it. They're able to see the future, and they're making sure that the future happens now, all right, by being present today. All right, amazing things are going on at V&J. V&J Auto Body is a state-of-the-art facility. It is a future-focused facility. If you want to get a glimpse of what the auto body industry is going to look like down the road, well, just take a look at V&J. Go to VandJAutobody.com. They got some amazing photos there, but more importantly, they got a virtual tour. All right, they got a whole new, I think it's a 50,000 square foot building that they just bought next door that's going up. Phenomenal stuff. Hey, these guys are so focused on the future of the auto body industry and trying to change that industry, all right? But what I mean by change is they're trying to make it an industry that people actually want to work in. What a novel idea. Holy shit. Let's try and create an environment, all right, a work environment in the industry where people coming out of high school, we're going to look at that as a viable option, right? That doesn't happen. Doesn't happen, folks. Okay? Doesn't happen. You look at the auto body industry, a lot of imported labor. I'll just leave it at that. Okay? A lot of imported labor. I don't even know if it's imported. I think it just wanders in. So V&J is actively involved in recreating that aspect in the industry, all right? And they're doing phenomenal stuff. The new building is going to be unbelievable. Showers, employee lounge, the whole 9 yards. Okay, so they want to incorporate that into their approach to repairing vehicles, right? So we can attract good talent, good people, all right, and grow the industry. Phenomenal. All right, we're going to have a show on that too, by the way. We're going to have some really cool guests that are going to be stopping by. We're going to be talking to them about that, about what places like Suffolk Community College are doing. Suffolk Community College actually launched a program, I think, a couple years ago. It's actually a technical school, right? And I believe part of that school is dedicated to auto body training. Cool stuff, right? I didn't know about that. I mean, did you ever hear anything on News 12 about that? Probably not. So stay tuned. We're going to have some interesting people on to talk about that. But V&J Auto Body, great place, all right? Amazing shop. Hey, I work there. Full disclosure, I tell everybody that all the time, right? Full disclosure, I do work there. Love working there. Been there over 9 years. Can't say enough of good stuff about working there. They're so good to us, all right? And we are so good to the customers. So what separates V&J? A lot of things, right? I've talked about them. But here's some of the things, all right? See this right here, folks? This is Gold Class. This is ICAR Gold Class. ICAR is the Interconference Auto Repair. All right, and this is amazing, folks. Do you know that less than 10% of the entire collision service industry nationwide attains this level? All right, this is a very, very, very recognizable component of a shop that is very present and very concerned about being able to do the right thing for the right reasons. Right, and fix your car consistent with manufacturer standards. Right here, iCar Gold. This was the first one, folks. iCar Gold. Less than 10% of the entire industry nationwide attains this level. All right, and then I talked about certifications. Hey, V&J, V&J is a highly certified shop. Right, it's on our shirts. So cool. All right, highly certified. What do you mean by highly certified? A lot of shops probably have certifications today, right? Some of them might have 1, 2. A lot of them don't have. I should probably rephrase that. A lot of them probably don't even have 1. But the ones that are, they might have a few here and there. V&J Auto Body has consistently grown the business, all right, and grown our technical capacity. All right, and that's why we have reached manufacturer certifications in nearly every major vehicle manufacturer. So I want to show you Tesla. Okay, see that? Tesla. And it says Tesla approved body shop. Folks, I can tell you, there's not many people that have this. There's 1 or 2 shops. I think there's maybe 2, 3 shops in Nassau. And I think there's 3 of us in Suffolk now. We were the first in Suffolk County. Make no mistake about it. All right, don't let anybody baffle you or fool you. V&J Auto Body was the first shop in Suffolk County to be chosen as a certified facility for Tesla. So if you operate a Tesla and you're in Suffolk, you got to come to us. Don't go to another shop that says, hey, we're Tesla certified. Yeah, ask them if they're working for the insurance company. I'm pretty sure they are. All right, and you don't want to be there. Here's another example of certification. This is GM. Okay, this is a GM Collision Repair Network program. All right, we've been part of GM certification program for many, many years now. I believe almost 20 years. All right, so if you drive a GM, you want to make sure that your shop is displaying this, because if they're not, you should probably drive out of there. If you can't drive, call V&J Auto Body, and we'll happily tow your car right to our shop. All right, and one more plaque here. This is Subaru. Look at this, right? Check it out, Subaru. All right, we are a Subaru-approved facility. All right, that means we have been recognized by Subaru of America to be a professional establishment that is qualified to repair their vehicles. Right? And there's a lot that goes into these certifications, folks. All right, a lot of training. All right, I have to take a lot of classes. My partner takes classes. Our technicians. All right, so many technicians have to be certified in their equipment and their repair processes. We have to have specific tools and equipment to repair their cars, specific to their vehicles. So there's a lot of investment in people, processes, and equipment. All right, and that's why if your car gets into a wreck, you want to make sure that you're calling V&J Auto Body. All right, folks, we have a lot of amazing shops like V&J on our network. All right, so you go to collisionservicenetwork.com and you'll be able to find a shop in your neighborhood that's going to be able to help you. All right, that's going to wrap it up. Look at this back here, right? Make sure you check this out here. This is this isn't made up, okay? This is actually a real testimonial, all right? And we do have Google capacity now. We have leaped into the 21st century. So please, if you like the show, if you heard something on the show that you really like or you think it's entertaining, go to collisionservicenetwork.com and please opine, all right? Please opine. Leave us a little forget-me-not right there, all right? Let us know what you think about the website, about what we're doing, all right, and about the podcast show, all right? Go to collisionservicenetwork.com. Leave us a Google review. We really need those. Folks, thank you very much for the support, all right? And continue listening. Continue spreading the word, please, about what we're doing here. Let everybody know about us on Crash Course, as well as collisionservicenetwork.com. Please reach out to us, all right? We're here for the folks. If you need help when it comes to filing a claim, finding a body shop, or anything insurance or auto body related, reach out to us. We've helped a lot of folks, and we can help you. All right? See you on the next episode.